Top of the morning to you laddies. It's not Jacksepticeye. Someone much better. It is me, Mr Stingy. And today we are reading a story submitted by Anonymous 69420 called The Things. He says that this happened to a friend of his, so it's not actually his story, which, sure, makes me believe it even more. This is the longest story we've had so far. I mean, this is only episode 4, but hey, that's making progress. Soon enough we'll have entire essays, entire books worth. What's that really long Super Smash Bros. Fanfic? It's going to be bigger than that. It's going to take multiple episodes to cover one video, one story, I mean. So yeah, let's hop on this lady. This is The Things. I have never been the same since that day, since the things came. They say that our childhood influences shape who we become for the rest of our lives. They couldn't be more right, but this is not always good. Ever since that day 10 years ago, I have thought about them every moment of every day. They cannot leave my mind no matter how hard I try. They just won't leave. So, I'm not going to stall any longer. Me and my sister have kept this encounter hidden from the world, but I think it's a good time to get it all out. So this is what happened. I was a small boy. Me and my sister were home during an evening storm. Our mother was out at work and we were just waiting for her to get home. We were pretty much stuck inside. The day was cold and wet, and me and my sister just pulled out some chairs and watched the rain since there was nothing else to do. We didn't have much growing up, so video games were off the table, and we were too bummed out to play with our toys, which little we had. We wanted to go outside and play ball, but the rain made this impossible. But I guess we could, but neither of us wanted to end up getting wet. So we just sat there. We waited for the seconds to tick by until our mother got home from work. It was then, while we sat staring out the window, my sister noticed a dark figure in the distance. I turned to look at it, but it had gone. We were a little concerned, but thought nothing of it. There were lots of people who lived on our street. We just sat for another 5 or so minutes before we heard a large bump coming from the front door. We could not see what it was from the window, and the door didn't have any peephole on it, so thought it might have been our mother, but she usually calls out to us to help get things out of the car. Maybe she just drove straight here from work, we thought. We were about to go and unlock the door, but we heard another loud bang, and the door flew open. Out of the rain came a long, dark, skinny figure. It looked somewhat malnourished, and it was holding a beat-up umbrella in one hand and an old soaked and tattered hat on his strange, pale head. Me and my sister were terrified, and we leapt from our seats to try and get away from this thing. It walked in, scratched its feet on the welcome mat before looking directly at us. It asked us why we were just sitting around. Said something about having lots of good fun inside. Me and my sister were frozen solid with fear. What was this creature? What was it going to do to us? We wondered. I know some good games we could play, it said. We wondered what it meant by games. Was it going to hurt or kidnap us? We just wanted this thing to leave. I know some new tricks, a lot of good tricks. Your mother will not mind. How did it know our mother was out? Was this thing watching us? For how long? We suddenly heard a gargled voice coming from the fishbowl in the corner. The voice told us that we needed to get rid of this creature, and it shouldn't be here. We were equally terrified of this strange voice coming from the fishbowl, but it was right. This thing needed to leave. The creature picked up the fishbowl and said, "Have no fear, my tricks are not bad. It then pulled out a large beach ball out of nowhere and started balancing on it with some other random objects it pulled from behind its back. The voice begged to be let down, but the creature insisted that it was fine. The creature pulled out some more random items from behind its back and started stacking and balancing them all on top of each other. I looked at my sister in a desperate attempt to signal that we should run, but before she could react, the creature slipped, and along with it, all the items came crashing down. Glass shards from milk bottles carpeted the floor, and me and my sister had to make sure we didn't cut ourselves. I cut myself, and it hurt. The voice once again told the creature to leave, and the creature quickly and suddenly ran outside. We thought, was that the end? Is it gone? Had the voice scared away this thing? But our hope was shortly destroyed when it ran back inside with a large red wooden crate. "I like to be here," said the creature. "I will not go away. I do not wish to." The creature smacked the box down on the floor and said, "I call this game Fun in a Box. In this box are two things. I will show them to you now." It flicked the latch on the crate and the lid flew open. Out of that god-forsaken box came what I only know as the things. These things sprinted out of the box and started running through the hallways. Although I didn't get a good look at them, I could make out their pale leathery skin, their red leathery skin, pale faces and greasy blue hair. These things ran towards us and shook our hands, although it was more like them grabbing our hands and thrashing them around. The voice cried out again, "These things should not be in the house. Put them out! Put them out!" The creature patted the things on the head and mentioned how good they were, and not to fear. The things pulled out shoddily made kites and threw them around the house. Me and my sister were really panicking at this point. We really wanted this thing out of our house. We wanted our mother to come home and protect us from these things. It was then we had a glint of hope. We faintly heard the distant click-clack of our mother's shoes walking outside. She was finally here. It would all be over soon. Then I thought to myself, what if they wanted to hurt her too? I felt a shiver run up through my body, and I knew what I had to do. I rushed into my room and took out a fishing net that I used every weekend or so, but never for this purpose. Well, this is pretty scary so far. I stood in the hallway where those things were and thrashed my net around wildly. And when I stopped, I saw that both of these things had been trapped. I held the net tightly so they wouldn't escape, and luckily they didn't. The creature slowly walked up to me with a crooked, pouty face that looked fake almost. "Oh dear, you didn't like our game? Oh dear, what a shame." It was then that the creature put all the things back into the put the things back in the box and slowly walked out of the house. We were relieved that we had been left alone, but our mother was still out there. We didn't want her to see this thing as well. Didn't have to experience what we've just experienced. We tried to get to the door to warn her, but there was a mountain of junk. Pieces of the house blocking the door from the thing's rampage. Bits of drywall, smashed windows, glass. We just couldn't make it to the door. Oh, but I tried, and I eventually made it there. Almost. I was almost at the door when the creature showed up again, sitting on top of the strangest looking contraption I've ever seen. Had long slender arms that swung around the place. I just snapped. I buried my head in my knees and started crying. I just wanted it to be over. Then I looked up and it just vanished. Everything in the house was back to normal. It was like nothing had ever happened. Was it a dream? What happened? I looked over at my sister who was hiding in the corner. She looked at me. I knew none of this had been a dream then. we had really just both experienced that. Quietly, we sat back on our chairs, traumatized to what we'd just been through. We had to process so many emotions then. None of it came out. From the outside, we just looked like we were staring out the window. Then we saw the door open and our mother walk into the house. It was finally over. For as long as I live, I will never forget that day. I will never forget that creature, and I will never forget those things. That day changed my life. I went from being a hyperactive, fun-loving kid to a quiet boy who never wanted to do anything. Though I still wonder about that strange voice that came from the bowl, that cautionary phantom that kept my family whole. I'm glad it talked some sense into that creature of scat. I'm glad it got rid of the cat in the hat. Well, that was quite the story. Halfway through is when I realized, damn, this is just the cat in the hat, but spooky. But the other half of me is thinking, what if the cat in the hat was based off this thing? What if this is a true encounter with some feline creature that just walked into someone's house one day? What if the cat in the hat is a true story? What if Dr. Zeus stole this story from the original author, the anonymous 69420 guy, and then turned it into some children's book for money? Wouldn't put it past him. Damn, I might have to start making conspiracy videos again. But anyway, that is that. If you watched this video even, I don't think, as of recording this, I don't think Slenderman has any views at all. God damn. If Murdoch is a knob has, like, a lot more. But yeah, if you liked it, then, I don't know, tell your friends about it. The like button doesn't do anything. Maybe turn on notifications if you really want to. But I am Mr. Stingy, and this has been Bad Creepypastas.